I recently had someone write to me and ask me if I specialize in helping people to reconnect with their dismissive avoidant. And while on the face of it, this seems like a pretty straightforward question, I think it actually warrants a much more nuanced and detailed answer. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to talk about what's possible when it comes to reconnecting with the dismissive avoidant ex and what are those limitations. Hi, I'm Katya Morozova. I am an attachment coach and certified NARM practitioner. I help people recover from breakups and become secure in their relationships using the wisdom of attachment theory. If that sounds helpful to you, then definitely subscribe to my channel. I'm also the founder of KatyaMorozova.me, and if you want to book a coaching session with me, you can do so on that website. That's going to be right up here. So often people really want to know if I know the ins and outs of an avoidance mind, and with that knowledge can help them foster reconnection. And the answer to this question is yes and no. An attachment style is just that. It's an attachment style. It's not a human being. And I think a lot of times people go on the internet and they do all of this research and they start to relate to their ex-partner like an attachment style rather than a person. And I think that a lot of times people trip themselves up because it actually reinforces a lot of the things that they're already doing that cause challenges in their relationships with people who are avoidant, which is walking on eggshells, thinking that they have to say the perfect thing or do the perfect thing, withholding out of fear of rejection, feeling like they can't be vulnerable with this person because this person can't tolerate emotions. The truth is that yes, there are some specific ways that you can approach a person with an avoidant attachment style. The myth is that you have to understand avoidance, like you have to unlock some kind of avoidant code, which doesn't really exist. What we're really fearing is that we're going to come across in this robotic way or inappropriate way, or that we're going to say too much. That's what we're really trying to avoid. But the solution is not to try to figure out how to say or do the right thing. The solution is to actually get out of our own way and start to be able to relate to ourselves and to this person like a human being. Because that's what ultimately is attractive, and that's what ultimately fosters the possibility of reconnection, because that is how you connected to each other in the first place. Another question that people are secretly asking when they want to reconnect with their avoidant is there a special thing that you could say or do to get this person's interest again? The short answer is no, and the long answer is maybe, but let's talk about the no first. People ask this question when they're in a very specific situation. Their ex has stopped responding, they've already tried a bunch of things and nothing has worked. Or they sent a lot of communications, maybe they kind of bombarded their avoidant ex with communications, and now their avoidant ex has totally disappeared, totally disconnected. When someone is no longer responding pretty much to anything that you try is a lack of interest. It shows a lack of willingness. And when people are not willing, then there's nothing that you can really do to get them to respond or to pay attention again. Reaching out to someone who is in this place is like giving someone unsolicited advice. We've all received unsolicited advice at one point in time, and you probably know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that. Maybe your eyes start to glaze over, you start to check out, you dig your heels in a little bit deeper, and you can't really hear what this person is saying. Fortunately, the most miraculous thing that can happen in a situation like this is that you give this person time and they start to settle and move out of the defensive position that they are in. Next answer to this question is maybe. There are some situations where you're dealing with an avoidant, also immature, or maybe it has a little bit more narcissism. I find this to be a lot more common in relationships that are a bit younger. Where you could say something to, get a person's attention, and they will react to you, they will respond to you, but that response will be temporary. While you may capture their attention in the short term, nothing has changed about your situation and about your dynamic with this person in the long term. The final thing that people are often secretly wondering when they ask this question of if it's possible to reconnect with an avoidant, is there something that avoidants really need that will foster reconnection? And the answer is yes. And of course, this isn't in all cases. But this is something that I've seen with clients who do end up reconnecting with an avoidant partner, who have stronger relationships over time with an avoidant, and also from my own life where I have reconnected with avoidant partners using this strategy. I wouldn't really call it a strategy, but it's really more about becoming secure. When you become secure, what you're doing is you're interrupting the old dynamic with you that you had with this person that wasn't working for one reason or another, and opening up the possibility of there being a new dynamic between the two of you. Now, this can look different for different people, but I can give you two examples from my own life. When I met this person, I was very anxious and they were very avoidant. We ended up ending the relationship because they didn't want to commit and I really wanted a relationship. Later, we ended up getting back together, and the dynamic between us had totally changed because I had shifted into a more secure position and was no longer anxious about getting with this person, about making something happen with them, about, furthering the connection along. And he could really sense that there was this difference in me, and it made the relationship on much more equal footing. In another relationship, I changed the dynamic. I think I've talked about in a previous video that I have a fearful avoidant attachment style. So this was a little bit earlier in my healing process. I was still in a much more fearful place, and that was coming out as a self-sabotage in my relationship. And this person that I was dating at the time really wasn't having that. And so they ended things with me. And one of the things that I did is I worked on myself so that I could be a much more stable and secure partner, so that I could show up for this person. And later down the road, we were able to reconnect because our dynamic had totally changed and he could see that I had changed. I've also seen this with clients who work on becoming more secure and start to quell their anxieties, their insecurities, and there just becomes a lot less friction in their relationships. Their avoidance starts to lean in a lot more. The relationship becomes much more on equal footing. Want to explore how to become secure in your relationships and give yourself the best possibility to reconnect with your ex if it's right? Definitely sign up for an initial consultation to explore one of my attachment coaching programs. You can do that right up here. Did you like this video? If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to watch more content on the avoidant attachment styles and becoming secure in your relationships. Next up is my video on the dismissive avoidant, what happens after they take space. That's going to be right up here, so definitely check that out next. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.